Hello.
We're just like, we used to do a little bit more prep work.
Yeah.
Now we just don't even, just diving right in.
Do some test recordings.
Yeah.
And
I bet if you could,
we're old pros is what we are.
That's the thing. We're like in a year in, we're just doing our own thing. But I bet if you could collect the sound recordings that we've done, that would be the funniest part.
Collect as in
as in putting all of those together, the things that we say in that little snippet. That testing our mic.
Testing my mic.
I'm testing my mic.
Testing my mic in the green.
Oh man.
How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
We were together on Friday, weren't we?
That's right.
At a little conference thing, which was great.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
What did you think?
I had some great takeaways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Takeaway. I had a few. I mean, okay. I don't want to be negative because we love those people.
Totally.
And I think I really enjoyed the gal we went to her seminar.
Me too.
Kathy.
Yep.
She works for Almond Roca and whatever bigger brand that is under.
Brown and Haley.
Yes, them. Also, did you try the chocolate?
I did. It was great.
It's really good.
I haven't had much chocolate I don't like, but it was great.
Good Almond Roca.
Yeah. A little crunchy.
I think for me, I just would love to go. This is so hard. You can cut this out if it's not nice. I think a lot of those conferences have this similar message.
Yeah.
And I'd love to go to something where it's new.
Right.
Something new. I don't know. I'm sure it's hard to do that because it's like we're all in business. We all have burnout. We all need to reignite our passion for things. So there's like definitely a healthy message being said there, but also, I don't know.
I hear exactly what you're saying.
You know?
I mean, there's so much in the world of like self-improvement, self-development, like even books. Like I went through a point where I was reading, one self-improvement book a week, and I got to the point where you're right. They all started sounding exactly the same.
Yeah.
It was the same message repackaged in a slightly different way. Right. And yeah, you're right. And even all these conferences are kind of the same thing. Yeah. It's like, it's a lot of the same information. For me, it's like, I always take at least something away. Yeah. Like even I ended up leaving a little bit early at the end.
Okay.
For that reason, I felt like I'm not really, I'd rather go.
Yeah.
At this point,
like you'd rather leave, or what do you mean you'd rather go?
At this point in the day, I feel like I've gotten out of this what I wanted to get out of it, and the current Q&A that I'm listening to, like I'm not really getting a lot of value out of, and I'd rather go home and catch up on emails before my evening kind of thing. So it's like once I start getting to that point where I'm like no longer even receiving information, I'm like, all right, I don't need to be here anymore.
So,
but I also think I also need to keep my mind open to that new information.
Well, that's what I struggle with.
Yeah.
Because and this conference was a little bit different where they had an emphasis on creativity and like artists performing and those things, which was different.
I love that aspect.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
That one guy who spoke, what is it called? Spoken word?
Spoken word.
Phenomenal. Like literally had goosebumps.
For the audience.
Yes.
So
let's explain.
Bryson, who ran the conference, he saw his friend in line right before it started, and what he said is this wasn't planned at all. So he saw him in line for coffee, and he's like, hey, would you be open to doing this?
Yeah.
And his friend is like, yeah, let's do it. So basically Bryson gave an opening keynote, which was probably 35 minutes.
Right.
And during that, he had audience participation. He had people like shout things out. And then right after that was over, this spoken word artist, poet,
Yeah.
It was spoken word poetry, I think is what it's called. He came up and he delivered a poem or spoken word that he had written on the spot while Bryson was speaking.
Yeah.
That incorporated all the themes from what Bryson had talked about and what the audience had shared. And it was one of the most amazing creative things I've ever seen in my life.
It was, what I loved was it had so much depth to it.
Yeah.
Also on a surface level, it all rhymed. Like it went
sounded amazing.
So well.
Yeah.
And there was humor in it. Like it was, I mean, and it just, for me, I was like, that feels like a genius mind. Like it is so far from, I could never create something like that.
Yeah.
So hearing it just flowing out of this person who just created it was mind-blowing.
Yeah, there wasn't a dry eye in the audience.
Yeah.
Like I was telling Brian this, like if it had taken him 40 hours to create that, I would be really impressed with it.
Yeah.
The fact that he created it in 30 minutes on the
100%.
spot under that like deadline, I'm like, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
I wish it was recorded. I don't think it was.
Oh man.
Because I want to share it with the world.
Right.
Like it was amazing.
So, not to totally deviate and sidetrack, but I was listening to this podcast this morning and they were talking about this article that came out on Michelin star restaurants.
Okay.
And
have you been to one?
So I actually don't think that I have, but there was this thing. So I'll circle back to why this came into my brain just now. But this thing about people that are getting these star ratings actually end up not lasting as long, these restaurants.
Oh, interesting.
And it was this whole thing about like, it's like now there's this pressure because you've got this rating and it brings in a different clientele. And all of a sudden the restaurant's not able to sustain that and they don't do as well. And so it was just, I don't know, somehow my brain connected that to this idea of like kind of repeating the same thing of, I don't know, inspiration or whatnot. Yeah. And going back to this idea of like processes, like they were saying what's almost more exciting is like the creating of the restaurant, right? The process of, and the girl who was on the podcast talked about like equated it to being in theater and how like she hated the actual opening night, but she loved everything that led up to it type of thing. And I don't know, it's just an interesting thing as we're like part of this industry of like, you know, I don't know, constantly trying to push to get better. And even one of our core values is like get better every day. Yeah. And almost this encouragement of like just enjoying the process.
Yeah. Enjoy the journey.
And not necessarily this pressure of like recreating the wheel and coming up with something that's gonna like blow everybody away and be this major thing. But just like how do you create this like consistency and continue to find fulfillment in that? Yeah. You know,
I remember I went to a conference in Bellingham probably 5 or 6 years ago, early on in my like entrepreneurship journey. Yeah. And that was one of my takeaways from that conference was like, enjoy the journey. That was my big takeaway. Because I was so results oriented and motivated. And I was like, if we achieve this thing, then, you know, that will be success. Then I'll be happy, then whatever. Yeah. And then I remember there was a car that I wanted for my whole life, and I was like this dream car. Yeah, I got the car, so excited, and like I loved the car. Yeah, but it didn't. Then it was like, now what? Yeah. So that I feel like the risk of being too results oriented is if you do achieve that result, a lot of times you won't be fulfilled by it, and you'll just be like, okay, now what? Right. Versus if you enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, try to find fulfillment within the daily grind, right, then I think that's a happier life. Yeah. So here, look what we're doing. We're just regurgitating the same self-help information that we've heard.
Sign up for me and Austin's conference.
There'll be a lot of the same information.
It's gonna be nothing new. That's what this is. Nothing new conference. That's what we're gonna call it.
I like that actually. That's a good idea.
This is nothing new. Also, I'm pushing hard for your parents to do from sheepskin to South Tacoma way.
That was the spoken word was probably the number one highlight of my day for Friday. Other highlight was learning more about my parents' entrepreneurship journey, because I had known little bits and pieces. Yeah. I did not know that they were building a sheepskin empire. I had no idea.
Like that could have been you, Austin.
It could have been me.
You could be right now in a Fred Meyer kiosk.
The sheepskin
slinging sheepskin
prince. I'm like, I feel like I jokingly will share the sheepskin part of the story sometimes. And I didn't realize that they had 5 stores that they were selling in, and like that's mind blowing to me.
Moral of the story: if you don't sit down and ask Alan and Rondi about their sheepskin journey, you're missing out.
Totally, you gotta do it over a glass of wine for sure.
Preferably, that's the best way to do it. Okay. How's it going? How? It's been 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. Should we go 2 weekends ago first?
Sure.
I can go first if you want. Okay, cool. I took a lot of notes because I really couldn't remember.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Let me look real quick. Okay, so 2 weekends ago, the main thing, we went to Anderson Island for the weekend. Oh, fun. Brian and I did. Yeah. Every time we go out there, we're like, why do we not come out here more often? Sure. It's so peaceful, so relaxing. It's beautiful. Yep. And we really only go like 2 or 3 times a year, maybe.
Is that it?
Yeah. And we would love to get closer to going like monthly, realistically, like every other month. But it was awesome. We took the ferry out there.
You didn't.
Well, okay, I said that. I have in my notes here, grumpy lady, which is just kind of funny. So the ferry, it's like I don't want it to be like disparaging on the lady, but Okay, so we're in the ferry line, and you've been out there several times. You know the stress of catching the ferry, right? Like
the timing.
The timing is crazy.
Right
We're in like off season right now. We're no longer in peak season, so there's fewer ferry runs per day.
Okay.
And so the stress is even higher. You can look on the app to see like the camera of where, you know, what the lines are looking like.
Okay. I didn't know you could do that.
But there's been so many times where I'm like rushing to the ferry, barely get to the line, and then don't make it on the ferry. And that's what happened this day. So we got there. We were in like the third line. We actually did think we were gonna make it on. But we were the very first car not to make it on, which is just
like actually painful.
It is painful. And the car in front of us, like they weren't gonna make it. And then she's like, "Oh, there's room for one more," and they made it, and we didn't. Okay, so that happens. Don't catch the ferry. It's very confusing what to do when that happens because you're in the third lane. You need to find your way over to the first lane.
Do you?
Typically.
Okay.
And it's always a little different. There's not consistency.
Oh, interesting.
It's always depends on.
Well, that's problem number one.
Yes, who's managing the line? Right. It's kind of what determines where you go. If you stay in the third line, if you go to the first line. Every time I've ever been there, I've gone around to the first line.
Yeah.
The car behind us, I think, had the same thought. So they went around. They went from behind us to the second lane, and then all of a sudden, the lady who's doing the line starts like yelling at them, like freaking out, like, "What are you doing? I had to tell you to move!" Like yelling. And
you guys haven't moved yet.
We have not
You've
moved.
Stayed. Okay.
And okay, so then she said, so she was yelling at them. That got all sorted out after a lot of yelling, and then she points us. She says, "Wait," or no, she said, "What did she say?" I think she said, "Wait." I think she yelled at us and said, "Wait."
Okay.
And that was it.
Yeah.
That was the only information we had.
Okay.
And then she's gone. She disappears for like 10 minutes. And we're like, we're the only people in this third lane. The
Everybody
first lane
has been moving?
Yes, the first lane is starting to fill up. So we're like,
oh, this is stressful.
What do we do? And so then we were like, okay, let's go to the first lane so that we for sure make this ferry. So we go around the line, start going, making our way back. And she's like, this is the first time we've seen her again. She's walking past us and she's like eyeing us down, giving us like a death glare. She's like, "What are you doing?" And we're like, we didn't know what to do. Like we thought we had to go to the first line.
Yeah.
Like we didn't know that we were supposed to stay there. She said, "I told you to wait." And we're like, "We're sorry. We didn't realize." And she's like, "You think it's just because I'm a woman that I don't know what I'm doing?" Those were her words. And we're like, "No, that's not why. It has nothing to do with this."
Interesting conclusion that she came to.
She must have been having a bad day or something. I don't know.
That's a leap.
Maybe somebody mansplained something to her and she was pissed off about it. But we're like, then when she said that, I'm like, "What the heck, lady?" Like, so I was like, "Nope, nothing to do with it." And then I just kept driving. And I went back to the line and I'm like, I'm not getting into it with this lady right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm a woman. I'm like, "Are you serious?" No.
Is it because I'm a female?
No. Oh, so that happened.
Oh my god!
And then went to the line, and then we have to see her again to show her our past.
So awkward.
And she acts like nothing ever happened. She's smiling, all jolly be good. Great. So that was our ferry experience.
The only thing I wish from that story, I think everything's phenomenal, but I wish we had learned what should you have done.
Yeah.
What did she expect?
So what she told, well, I don't know. The whole thing was very confusing, but I guess her plan was to let us on the ferry first from the third line.
row.
But then I'm like, how do you actually, does she just remember in her head that these cars were here?
See, that's what I was wondering. Could you put a marker, like some sort of, those like wheel stops or something, put some sort of marker after the last car?
Maybe she was going to do that.
In the third row, and then you start, I don't know. That's a weird scenario.
All confusing. I also never seen that lady before, so I don't know. Anyway. Bless her heart. I know. She seemed like she was doing okay when she scanned her ticket. So I think she was having a bad minute or something. So
probably because she's female.
So yes. Okay. So we made it out to the island, and I'll give a quick recap of the weekend. It was lovely. We watched a lot of TV lately, which
good for you.
I really love.
You know what?
We finished the show The Stranger. Have you ever watched that? And actually, rewind. I was talking with somebody on Friday night at a birthday party, and she was telling me that she was listening to our podcast and that she watched the Perfect Couple show because of a recommendation from a previous episode. So
thank you.
People are listening and they're taking our recs.
All right, we better rein it in, Austin.
God, with great power comes great responsibility.
I do. We're so influential. I do have a movie I'm going to talk about that I will not recommend.
Okay.
The Stranger. Was that on Netflix?
It was an older show. It was like
Yes.
2020. It was like a British
First off, please
show.
don't say older and then reference 2020.
More so meant not new. It's not a brand new the pop
You're like
culture show.
So old. It
was a crime thriller, murder mystery kind of thing.
And it's like a girl who shows up in a town and kind of disrupts things.
Yeah. She's the stranger.
I love it. It's a little like British mystery.
British,
love those.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the show called Broadchurch?
No.
Okay, this is one I would highly recommend.
Okay. Is it a lot of seasons?
I want to say 2 or 3, and kind of a different storyline each time.
Nice.
Really, really good
Fargo?
acting. Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Broadchurch.
Yep.
Okay, so we finished that show Friday night. Saturday we went on a hike with little Stevie.
Cute.
Took her to
on Anderson Island.
On Anderson Island.
Where'd you go?
Well, so apparently Anderson Island does not allow dogs on any of the hiking trails, which is like why. I don't understand that. So
why are we anti-dogs?
I don't understand. On a hiking trail, are you kidding me? So we went to the dog park first, and we're like telling these people, "Oh yeah, we're going on a hike," and they're like, "Oh, you're bringing your dog?
Don't you dare!
You're not allowed." And we're like, "Okay." So we start driving. There's 2 trails we were like thinking about.
Yeah.
We drive to the first one, and there's like 3 cars in the parking lot. We're like, we don't want to get into an altercation.
Yeah.
So we go to the second one. There's no cars in the parking lot. So we're like, okay, this is a good option.
Yeah.
So we did that hike and didn't see a soul. It was great. Stevie did great.
Were there signs? No dogs?
There were signs for sure.
Wow.
We were planning to act like we didn't speak English, but then there were like there was a big dog logo with an X over it. We're like, I don't know how you.
I thought that was for wolves. I thought they didn't want wolves around here.
Yeah, if we try to say that in German,
this is a domesticated pet.
So we did the hike, and then a lot of just like reading on the couch. We went to dinner with my grandpa, Papa Dick. He's so funny. He's a hoot.
I feel like you've got to have a story every time you hang out.
Oh my gosh! So the story that this time was he does something called cadillacing. Have you heard that term before?
No, but I'm intrigued.
Apparently, it's an island term, which I don't understand why it's called cadillacing. But you just like show up at people's houses, uninvited, unannounced, and I think you honk or something, and we didn't follow these rules. This actually here, rewind. Okay. I actually learned about these rules after the island weekend when I was talking to my parents about it. He's like, oh, they're like, oh yeah, cadillacing is a thing. You honk your horn. If they want you to come in, they turn their lights on. If not, they leave their lights off or something. And I'm like, okay, but that's not what happened. We went to 2 different houses, unannounced, and just showed up.
Okay, so pause really quick. So you guys have had dinner.
We went to dinner.
And then he's like, hey boys, let's go to my friend's house.
Yep. They're having
We're not going to go inside. We're going to honk.
I want to take you by a couple parties is what he said.
I want to take you by a couple parties. Yeah. And you 2 were like, I'm in.
I want to say that was the reaction, but we said, yes, Papa will go with you.
Yes. And so then he says, oh, don't get out of the car. Stay in this driveway and honk your horn.
No. We didn't follow those rules.
Oh,
that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to honk. And if they want company, then because the island community is very different than. And I was talking to Brian about this. I feel like the Anderson Island is probably how a community should be. Like people, you like know a lot of the people.
I will agree, except for the no dog rule.
Yes, 100%. That was discrimination.
Yeah, okay,
but yeah, like people. I feel like in our modern society, you don't know a lot. Most people, we are very isolated a lot of the time. Versus like if you hear about, we've talked about the centenarians in Japan who live past 100, and a big part of that is they have a sense of purpose and they have a sense of community.
Totally.
And we are lacking that. Yeah. Like in our modern society, you have to be very intentional to create that community.
Right. Yeah.
Versus on Anderson Island, which you probably still have to be intentional about it, but it's a lot more kind of baked in because it's a smaller community.
Yeah.
There's one restaurant. You go to the restaurant, you know people. Yep. You go to the store, you know people.
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess I'll give it that. Like this whole idea of cadillacing seems to me in my brain, it's like you don't show up to somebody's house unannounced. Like that is so beyond what my brain is okay with.
Yeah.
But I guess it is okay. However, I will say we showed up to these 2 houses. You could tell on their faces that they were happy. They were surprised. They were surprised that we showed up.
In fact, having a party.
Party is a loose term. The first one, there were like probably 5 guys sitting around watching like boxing, smoking cigars.
that's a party. No, just kidding.
And I guess my grandpa goes, this is like a weekly thing that he goes to, but.
So you guys go into that. You went into that scene and you just join.
For a few minutes.
Just a few minutes?
Yeah. It wasn't. Okay. And I think my grandpa's great. He was trying to like introduce us to people, I think. And
bless his heart too.
I think, yeah. So he kept talking about this guy, Ken. So we went to Ken's house and that's where this was. So we went there first, and I don't need to go too long on this, but went there first, and then we went to the other house, which was another group, and they were all out on their patio, like drinking wine, and stayed there for a few minutes. And then Brian and I had to go home to feed Stevie, but my grandpa stayed at the house for a while.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
So that's cadillacing.
How did he get home?
He had driven himself.
Oh, so you guys had two different cars.
Yeah.
I do. Okay. So a couple of things. I do like the option of the lights, but I think it's hilarious. Imagine you come to my house, the lights are on, you honk, and I turn off. I'm like, not tonight, Austin.
That's true. It's so like this pure
funny.
pressure.
That's funny. But no, I agree with the community sense. I remember your mom telling me that she had somebody check on your dad. Like the gentleman from the island saw your dad's cars at the restaurant, but he wasn't. Grandpa wasn't at the restaurant, so then he came by the house just to check. Like just that sense of like we're looking out for each other.
Totally.
I think that's amazing. So
yeah, and that morning we got there, like another neighbor from the island was helping my grandpa with his TV. So people, it's a very helpful, like people, that sense of community is definitely real there, which is cool.
I'm hoping there's a better explanation for the no dogs on the hiking trails. There's gotta be.
I mean, everything on the island's very, very well maintained, like incredibly well.
Yeah.
Like the golf course is beautifully manicured. The trails were like, it felt like somebody had come through that morning and like cleared out all the leaves and everything. So it must just be like a not cleanliness, but just keeping it nice kind of thing. But I'm like, the people that take their dogs on hikes are probably good dog owners who are going to clean up after their dogs. Totally. So I don't know. I'm just going to be a rule breaker and bring my dog anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Stevie's a good dog.
Yeah, she is.
Okay. Then finished that night. We finished we started and finished the show. Nobody Wants This.
Yes.
Did you watch it?
Absolutely amazing. Whoever wrote this is my new favorite person.
Incredible. Their chemistry. I was like blushing watching this show.
Their chemistry, but also the humor. Like just the siblings dynamic. Like I thought it was so funny.
We loved it. I want to watch it again just for like to catch jokes that I didn't catch the first time. Yeah. And they're like, we were saying like, it'd be hard as one of their, because they're both married.
Right.
It'd be hard as one of their partners to see like how good their chemistry is together and like not be jealous of that.
Yeah.
Because they had amazing chemistry.
Well, I love the fact that like, because first off, I call him Seth Cohen because that's his character from the OC.
Yeah.
Adam Brody and Kristen Bell are not like young spring chick. They're not like in their 20s.
Right. Are they both in their 40s?
I would believe so. I think they're both 45. I looked it up actually. And I just love that wasn't referenced. Like that wasn't like, you did not know that these were like technically middle-aged people.
Right.
Like it just seems like they could have been.
And they both could be 30s.
Totally. Well, that's Hollywood. But I just love that was like, that was not it wasn't even like mentioned like oh we're so, because a lot of times in movies when you have like older actors it's like that's the story. It's like, oh, time's running out, but that was like not it at all. I love that.
My favorite part, one of my favorites is when she was at his family's house and like the mom was clearly not okay with her and then she catches the mom eating like pork in the kitchen and it's like now she has that ammo. It's so funny.
So great.
Watched that show, and then Sunday took the ferry home, and we took an early ferry because we were going to the Mariners game with my family.
Oh, fun.
So I picked my parents up at the airport. Had to stop by my listing in West Seattle because the listing sign was stolen. Like, why would somebody steal a listing sign?
Really though?
Yeah, I don't, no idea.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know if it was vandalism or what, but so I had to go brand new listing sign to it.
Oh man.
And then got groceries, started another show called The Gentleman that night.
Okay.
Which is a new Netflix show.
Got it.
About some like, it's with the guy from, oh my gosh, from White Lotus, the most recent season.
Okay.
Good looking guy.
Yeah.
Theo James.
Yeah.
Okay. He is like the main star of the show.
Okay.
It's about
I think I started that.
a little bit of a mafia kind of thing going on. It's very good.
Okay.
And then just like finished up the day with some laundry and house stuff.
And you did go to the Mariners game.
We did go to the Mariners
game. Big day.
Yeah, big weekend.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
that was 2 weekends ago.
Okay,
how about you?
Me 2 weekends ago. All right. Actually, okay. So our anniversary was September 25th.
Okay.
Chad was celebrating on a boys' golf trip.
Yep.
So we got to celebrate our anniversary that Friday. We went to, I think it's Macaluso's.
Okay. Italian place on
Pearl.
Yep. Near Point Ruston.
Yep.
Point Defiance.
Yep. So it's one of those things where Allie was at a friend's sleepover. Piper Chad arranged for my parents to keep. So we had like the whole night to ourselves, and we kind of left it open. We were like, we could go out to eat. Sometimes at the end of a Friday, we're both like, let's just order in and get jammies and not go anywhere.
Totally.
But we were like, no, we don't have kids. Let's go out. So we went there. What's funny is like we went out and it was like we were home by 7:30. It's not like a late night by any means. Welcome to your 40s.
That's so real though, getting home and just like wanting to just stay in.
Honestly, the best. Like if you want to threaten me with a good time, let's do an early dinner. And then let's get home and like have wine and watch a movie on the couch.
Yeah.
Like that's the best.
Yeah. We all the time will be like a Friday, same thing. We'll be Friday night. We already had dinner. It's like 7:30 and we're like home. We're like crazy wild Friday night. Like if you would have told me 10 years ago that this is where I'd be right now.
It's so great. I would not change it.
Love domestic stuff.
Yeah. So the movie I do not encourage people to watch is sadly Trap.
Okay.
M. Night Shyamalan is the writer.
He's like a
director.
horror guy,
like,
right?
Okay, so he wrote The Sixth Sense and he wrote The Village and like
thriller.
Yes, and like always has really cool twists in his movies. He's written recently. There was a series called From that he did that was kind of scary, but also you're just like I usually really enjoy his stuff. Like I love his like creativeness. This was so not like him, and I was really disappointed. And it has Josh Hartnett, who hasn't done a ton recently. So like people were like all excited about him coming back in the acting scene. And so I don't know. I mean, again, we want to be like not downplaying all these. Yeah, not disparaging.
We're disparaging the fairy lady, the conference organizers.
But yeah, it just, if you're expecting your traditional M. Night, it's not going to be it.
M. Night, if you're listening to this, we're sorry. Do better next time, please.
Yeah, here's what I think happened. His daughter, he cast as one of the main stars. And I could just see the family dynamics of it being like, Dad, please put me in a movie. I promise I'll do well. And he's like, all right, I'm going to give you your shot. And I'm really hoping after this, he was like, you know what? It's not your role.
Yeah.
It's not the right fit.
I wonder as a producer, director, writer, whatever in Hollywood, if they have the self-awareness to know when something is really good versus when it's not. Because I'm sure like he poured his heart and soul in it probably. So he's probably still proud of it, I would think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good question. I do feel like, at least for actors and stuff, you see them in interviews like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that movie. Or like, they kind of acknowledge.
Right.
I don't know.
It's interesting because like the box office earnings is always like a determining factor of if a movie is successful or not, which that is so arbitrary. Like the weekend it's released on matters, like the other movies. So there's so many factors there.
Yeah.
So I heard Dax Shepard talking about that. He's like he had to ignore that whenever a movie would come out, and he had to like feel what mattered to him was how he felt about the movie, not what the numbers were, not what Rotten Tomatoes said. But
well, hopefully M. Night is the same.
Yeah.
And doesn't listen to our podcast.
Can you imagine if M. Night Shyamalan randomly is one of our 38 listeners?
Tell your friends. All right. Okay, so that was Friday night. Saturday, so girls were still away, so we went out to breakfast together. We went to the Biscuit House in Lakewood. Similarly to Trap.
Wait, you never said how Macaluso's was. Was that good?
So good.
Okay.
Oh, I love.
So we have a positive review here.
Yes. Yeah. No, delicious. Okay. So anyways, Saturday was a pretty chill day. I actually was like having a hard time remembering what we did during the day. I think we did some like grocery shopping and stuff. Allie ended up doing a double hitter sleepover. So 2 nights at this friend's house. So it was just me, Chad, and Piper, and we had a pretty chill evening with like games. Chad and I were playing like cards. We made banana bread.
What card game were you playing?
We played a game called 5 Crowns.
Okay. It's a 2-player game?
It can be multiple players,
but it can be 2.
Okay.
Can be 2. I'm gonna have to get the rules for that because we always struggle to find 2-player card games that we like.
And then we kind of let Piper choose how the evening went, and she chose to play school, where we are the students and she's the teacher. That was entertaining to say the least. But yeah, she loves to like give us tests, like spelling tests, math quizzes. So that's how we ended the night.
That's
another
awesome.
Wild weekend. And then Sunday, what did I write down for Sunday? We went to church. We went to Cook's Tavern with my parents for lunch. So good. I had not been there in a long time.
I've only been there once and it was delicious.
So they do I don't know how often, if it's monthly, if it's quarterly, but they change their like theme. So right now they have like a Hawaiian theme going on. It was really yummy. And then
it's a good way to get people consistently coming back to your restaurant.
Do you know what's amazing too is they changed all of their artwork.
Oh wow.
Like it's not like they changed the layout of the restaurant, but like I was thinking, I was like, where are they keeping all of these paintings and pictures? And they have like in the middle of the restaurant some sort of like 3D structure of
that represents the current menu.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I should start going there more often. That's cool.
Yeah.
We've been talking about that with Radners, like how can we, because like the crumble cookie model is like every week it's a different cookie menu, so people are incentivized to come in. So we've been trying to figure out some similar ideas like that we could do for Radners. So we just introduced chicken sliders onto the menu, which are only available on Sundays to start.
Yeah.
So trying to create a little bit of like scarcity there.
Yep.
We've even talked about like once, because it'll eventually the goal is for it to end up on the menu full time.
Yeah.
At which point we're like, what else could we do is like kind of seasonal things.
Yeah.
And I think Isaac had the idea for Friday. So every Friday having a different type of fry. Like, you could have a poutine, you could have a crab fry, like whatever. You could mix it up with different fry options. So that's an idea.
Okay. I love that. Yeah. We had not been down there in forever. It was great. And then that evening, we were at Oceans 5 out in Gig Harbor.
Okay.
Met up with some friends and did bowling.
Nice. Is it regular bowling or is it like the duck pin?
There's both.
Okay.
So there is the duck pin bowling. There's regular bowling. They have an arcade. They have a laser tag.
Oh, there's laser tag?
Yes. I've never done it, but I've heard it's really fun.
Really?
I love that place. And they have decent food. Like so at your bowling lane, you can just order to your lane. And so it's pretty great.
Do you remember Acme Bowling?
No.
Okay. It was in South Center in Tukwila by the mall. It was a kind of a upscale bowling alley at the time. And it was similar. Like it was just very kind of swanky in there. They had really good food that they'd bring to your table.
Yeah.
I think it closed down, which I was surprised by. Anyway.
I know. I hope this place lasts because it's good.
I think it was wasn't it like a former Starbucks exec that founded it?
Oceans 5?
I think it is.
I don't know. There is something about that location, that building, like I don't know.
I heard something to do with Starbucks, like some former VP or something at Starbucks.
They also have we've done we've gone there for kids' birthday parties, and then I actually hosted a party for Chad there once. They have the screens where you can do like virtual golf, or you could do virtual soccer, you could do virtual maybe baseball. They had like all sorts of different sports you could choose.
That's cool.
And then there's like couches and tables around your suite that you can hang out in. So I like that place.
That's cool.
Okay, I think that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Solid weekend. Cool.
How about this most recent?
Most recent. So Friday night we went to a birthday party.
How was it?
It was great. I have a kind of a funny birthday party scenario in a second here, but so we went to. Have you been to? Do you know where Finney Ridge is?
Yes.
Okay, so right by between like Green Lake and.
So I just sold
Ballard.
a house in Wallingford,
right?
And I feel like Finney Ridge was near that.
Near that, yeah, ish.
Okay.
Kind of, yeah, pretty close.
Like when I looked at the map, I saw the words Finney Ridge.
Right. Yeah. So it's basically between. They're all pretty close together in North Seattle, but yeah, it's kind of like to the northeast, west of Green Lake, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
So it'd be northwest of Wallingford.
Okay.
Anyway, so went to a place called Finney Station, which was like I think it was a gas station that they converted into a really cool like bar / like tap room. They had some like alcoholic slushy type things. There's food trucks. Very
Fun.
cool spot. It was like indoor outdoor with these really cool fire pits and
That's awesome.
2-story. It was very, very cool. If you're ever in the neighborhood, it's a cool place to stop by.
Finney Station.
Finney Station. Yeah. It just opened recently. So it was my first time there. There are probably like 15 of us there. So it's a good sized group.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. There were a lot of families there.
Yeah.
So we are all my friends were in our late 20s, couple in the early 30s.
Yeah.
And there's a couple in the group that have kids, but they didn't bring their kids.
Okay.
But I feel like that was the first time where I'm feeling like we're getting to the point where this is going to be us.
Yeah.
Like all of these people around us are probably in their like mid 30s, like not far off from where we are now.
Right.
And we're just probably a few years away from people coming to a place like this and bringing their kids along with them. And it was a fun thought. It was like, it was like, it's kind of,
that's an exciting thing.
It is. It's just like that next season of life and everybody, you know, is chasing their kids around, but it's like brewery type things like that. I feel like 100%. a good place to do that.
Yep.
So yeah, it was
fun. Nice when you get to do that with your friends.
Yeah.
Like
totally.
that was, yeah.
I was looking around at the people with kids. I'm like, these people look like they're our age. Like they don't look older than us.
Right.
So I'm like, we're not.
And they look like they're having a good time.
And they're having a good time. And so like our friend, I was chatting with our friends, Brian and Hannah. Hannah's the one who listens to the pod. So hey, Hannah. And they have a son named, they have a son. And I know their son's name. I don't know if I want to share their son's name, like, just for the record. It starts with a D.
You're curious.
And it was just like not funny, but their mom stayed with their son. Yeah. But it's like we're getting pretty close where they could bring their son and everybody will bring their kids and it'll just be a fun little family hangout time.
Yes, 100%. I feel like our family we're at the stage where we can also leave ours. Yeah. Which is like, I don't want to sound like a bad parent, but it's pretty amazing. Yeah. When because there's times where it's like our other friends, it's like you either have to get a sitter or we have to find something kid friendly. Right. And so for us, we're like, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. We could, or we could not. Like it's pretty sweet to be in that spot. And often we'll bring pipes with us because a lot of the friends that we hang out with are her age. Totally. Kids. But yeah, it's fun.
So we did that. And then we went to pizza place after that for a little dinner.
Nice.
Then we went home. Let's see. Saturday so Brian was at like a Xbox Halo conference all weekend. So
look at you two with your conferences.
Yeah, so he is he loves gaming, and so him and his friend Michael went to this. I think it was a Halo competition, like world championship kind of thing.
Wow.
Apparently, the winning team won $1 million.
I'm sorry.
Which I'm like, what? So
also, Ryan, step it up.
I know. I'm like,
let's get to winning.
100%.
Yeah.
But so he was just in the audience. So he basically, there was like, it was a normal conference. There were booths and stuff all over the place. Okay. And then you watched people play. You watched teams of people play Halo on stage. So that was his weekend. So Saturday and Sunday he was at that. I was at the Seattle Downtown Convention Center.
Could he ever be the person playing?
He said that he doesn't feel like he's good enough, but I'm like,
should we try?
Should we try? Yeah. But so that was his weekend. So I kind of had the weekend to myself. Okay. So I on Saturday took Stevie on a hike, which we went to Snow Lake. I don't know if you've been there. Yeah. Beautiful hike. It's like a 6.5 mile round trip. So longest hike Stevie's ever been on. Yeah. And there's a lake at the end of it. So you hike kind of up the mountain and then down to Snow Lake. Yep. And she swam and splashed around for like 30 minutes and she was having a great time.
Was there other dogs there?
There were other dogs. It was a very busy hike. Like it was pretty much nonstop people the whole time. Yeah. But she had a great time. So she loved it. I want to start taking her on more hikes.
Yeah.
So did that and then came home. This was kind of my funny little mishap. So came home. Stevie was filthy. So I'm like, thought about giving her a bath, but I ended up taking her to get groomed on Sunday instead. Yeah. And I get ready and stuff. I have a birthday party that night that I'm going to for another friend. Yeah. I get all ready. I'm like, feed Stevie her dinner. I'm like ready to go. Pull up my phone, look at the invite to try to find the address for the house that I'm going to be driving to. Right. The party was Friday night. Somehow, when I got the invitation, I added it to my calendar for Saturday, but it was actually on Friday. So I'm like, shoot.
So sorry, friend.
So I texted the friend right away. I'm like, hey, you'll never guess what just happened.
Yeah.
I got ready to go to your party. I'm on my way.
Yeah.
And I realized it was last night.
Oh my gosh.
And I was bummed because there was like quite a few people at that party that I hadn't seen in a while that I was looking forward to seeing.
Oh,
And
shoot.
I felt bad because I had RSVP'd yes to go to the party and didn't go. So sorry, Justin.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you do?
So I stay home. Just
you and Stevie.
Just Stevie and I.
Yeah.
I watched the Netflix show about the Menendez brothers.
Monsters.
Have you watched that?
I've started it.
Okay. It's fascinating.
It's so fascinating.
I watched all 9 episodes and I know it wasn't the actual people. It wasn't the actual brothers that are in the show. It's all actors.
Yeah.
But I still don't know what to believe. I don't know what I believe. I don't know what's real, what's not real. So
you watched all 9 episodes in one night?
2 days. Yes. So that was, I started it on Saturday night.
Were you up for 10 hours?
I started Saturday night and I watched like 4 episodes because I was supposed to go to the birthday party. And then I'm like, I don't really feel like making other plans at this point. So I'm just going to stay in. So I watched that. And then Sunday, so yesterday, was kind of just like an adulting day. So went to the gym in the morning. Did all of our laundry, got groceries, got Stevie groomed.
You just found a spot for her to get groomed the next day?
It's pretty, I found a great place in Renton.
That's amazing.
It's $95, which is pretty reasonable for dog grooming. They have bather and groomer.
I feel like anytime I want to get my dogs groomed, I'm like, oh, I better like schedule for next year because they're always so booked out.
The previous place I'd gone to, not in Renton, was like that. Like I had to schedule weeks in advance.
Yeah.
Here every time I call him the day of and he can get me in within a few hours. So I think they're pretty efficient. I don't know how they do it, but she always looks great and smells great. And, so cleaning, very productive day. Brian was still at his thing. So, and then finished all of my house chore stuff around 3. And then Brian wasn't getting home until that night. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to keep watching the show.
Go for it.
I finished the show, watched the next 5 episodes, and then spent about 5 hours working.
Whoa.
So pretty much I've mentioned this before, but I love watching something and then getting stuff done on my computer. So I got a lot done. I got like 5 hours work done, caught up on emails, did a bunch of projects. I'm going to Mexico this Friday. So I'm just trying to get as much done as possible before that so that I can unplug as much as possible on vacation. So
good for you.
Really productive Sunday. I got all my stuff done, and then Brian got home. We had a little Thai food for dinner, and then went to bed.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Let's see, where are we at? So this weekend, Friday, I think we had cheer practice pretty late. Cheer practice, and then we got home. We were ready to crash. The girls put a movie on. I just kind of zoned out. Couldn't tell you what happened.
You're still processing everything from the conference we went to.
Yes, that was it was a long day. Because we had that pretty much all day, and then I went from that to we cheer for the middle school volleyball team. So we go to the game first, and then we had competition practice after that.
Oh wow!
So by the time you get home, it's like 6:30 ish. It feels late for the day starting at whatever time.
Yeah.
Anyways, Saturday was just kind of a family focused day. So we went to Net Shed 9 out in Gig Harbor. Okay. Highly recommend for
Net
brunch.
Shed?
Mm-hmm.
Net Shed.
Okay. Then the number 9.
Okay. Gig Harbor's big on the numerical places. Yeah. Ocean 5, Net Shed 9.
Oh my gosh. It's delicious.
Net Shed. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we did that. We went to Target. So I don't know if you know this about me. You might. I'm starting to get into pickleball.
I did know that about you. We talked about it on Friday a little bit, and I actually have a tickler in my notes for later today to plan a regular pickleball thing. With you and others.
Love to participate.
I want to get into it.
Here's the downside. As much as I'm loving it, I unfortunately have also picked up pickleball elbow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
For which elbow?
My right elbow. My dominant arm.
Yeah.
Really?
Have you ever experienced this before?
Nope.
So it's tennis elbow is what you're saying.
Well, if I were playing tennis, yes, that would be. But
what does it feel like? Is it
not good, Austin? It's not good. It's a pretty radiating pain in my elbow that shoots down. So back it up. I have been playing with Jessica from our office.
Yep.
The first time we went, she's like, just me and a couple moms are getting together. We're brand new to it. Would you want to come join? Count me in.
Yeah.
Remember when I talked about I'll do something if it's other people's first times.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to something where everybody's an expert, I'm like, no, thank you. this was great. This was like, they're all learning. They knew a little bit, so I got to learn from them. The next time, Jessica stepped it up. She brought mimosa ingredients. She brought pastries.
Wow.
Like, we went hardcore. And then I'm like, I'm going to get my family into this.
Yeah.
So I tell my family, like, hey, what if we get some supplies and we go find a pickleball place and try it out? It was like beautiful weather this weekend.
By supplies, you mean mimosa ingredients?
Exactly. My kids, yeah. So we had to get more paddles. We had to get like outdoor, the actual like balls and stuff. I didn't have any of that. Every time I've played, I've been borrowing other people's stuff. It was really cute because Chad was like, okay, me and Pipes, we have like, Piper and him have blue eyes. Allie and I have brown eyes. So a lot of times if we're playing games, he'll be like, blue eyes versus brown eyes.
Nice.
So they were really cute. They put on like matching outfits and they were pretty decked out. And then so we went and played, and it was so fun because the girls loved it. Like, they were actually like, can we do this again? This is really fun. It's just one of those games that like, I feel like everybody can play.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they're not going to be great, but it's like they're at least getting it over. Whereas tennis, sometimes you're like, okay, it's actually frustrating.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we do that on Saturday. What else did we do? I went and walked Chambers Bay during the day, and then that night we hosted my friend Peter. It was his birthday on Friday, so we hosted a game night with the Ramseys and Johnsons. And we took that's why I asked you guys what some of your favorite games. So we played the Chameleon game that you mentioned. Nice. That was really fun. We played this one. It's like, it's kind of fun because you can do it like, you can play anywhere. Like, we were sitting outside by our fire table. They're like little glasses, and it has a little card at the like bridge of your nose, and you can't see the name on it. But it's like, I was Mowgli, and somebody else was Donald Trump, and somebody else was Tina Turner. And you as the person are like, am I a real person? Am I female? Am I a singer? You're trying to guess who you are. So
people are answering yes, no questions, basically. Okay.
Yeah. So you go around and play that. And that's always kind of fun. We also played Telestrations, and we played one called Pencil Nose.
Okay.
Have you heard of this? I was dying. It is like Pictionary, but you know Pictionary.
Yeah.
You draw but you are wearing a contraption that's also like glasses with a pen attached to the nose, and you hold.
Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you what. You hold the board in front of you and you draw with your
no
pencil
way.
nose.
Are they pretty basic clues?
Yeah. Like one for me was 4-leaf clover or rainbow. No, I know.
That's pretty hard. I was gonna say like box, circle.
Heart. I was not good.
I would be horrible at that. I'm a horrible drawer in general, but with my nose is
not great. But it was hilarious. It was funny.
Yeah.
So
cool.
if you want to laugh, play that game. Pencil nose. So yeah, that was Saturday, and then
hold on, back to your elbow. I just saw you grabbing it again. Are you going to the doctor for it, or
I will not. No, I'll take some ibuprofen and woman up, if you will. But I'm like, it's just I don't know what I don't. Maybe I'll get a brace. I don't know.
I don't know. You show up next.
What am I gonna do? Be like, yeah, you probably shouldn't play pickleball. Sorry, sir.
Yeah,
can't stop. Won't
That's
stop.
the thing with going to the doctor.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. Yeah, and so what's funny is Sunday went back at it, back to pickleball.
Nice.
Yeah, we went to church in the morning.
Is it hurting while you're playing?
A little bit, and it sometimes depends on how I hit it. Like if I do certain angles and it hits funny, I'm like, I'll feel that later. The worst part was like the first time I played that night, it was like my whole right arm was feeling a little bit tingly. And then the next day it was like sending pain from my elbow down to like my wrist and my joints. Like it was like my whole arm. So sometimes I'm like doing this now.
Yeah. Ouch.
But listen, it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for the sport.
Yeah.
For the love of the game. But yeah, we did go back to pickleball. We also went to Chipotle, and we were a double hitter for church yesterday. We started in the morning. I worked in the nursery.
Yeah.
Lunch, pickleball, little chill time at home, and then back at it. We had a thing called Vision Night at our church, where they're like, here's where we want to go in the next year. And they're kind of giving an update on, there's, I think, 3 or 4 campuses that Life Center has. And so they're talking about like, here's all the things going on.
They have a word of the year.
They did not have a word. No.
Or phrase. Verse.
Can't say that they did that either. Like last year, there was a phrase. Last year, they were talking about taking ground. They were moving. They were expanding on one campus. They were acquiring property for another campus. So there was a thing. This year, it wasn't really that.
Okay.
But all that to say, what did end up happening is we ended up out pretty late. Like we didn't get home till almost 8:30. And then it was one of those things where like Allie was studying for a test and had homework to do. And it was just kind of a bummer. It ended up being like, and again, she had this whole thing where she wanted to shower. She had washed her bedding. It's like, maybe we don't have time to shower tonight. What about in the morning? I just washed my bedding. How dare you think I can get into that bed without showering, you know?
No, yeah, I can't.
So luckily everybody woke up happy today. Good. But it did end last night and a little bit, there was, just a little bit of tension in the air with the family from just not doing the time. And then I'm mad at myself because I'm like, well, I took us out to pickleball. We went and stayed at this event till like 8:30. I wish I just let her stay home. But I also was like, I kind of need you to tell me how much time you need for things. I did not realize how much homework and studying she had. So, blah, blah, blah. That was a little bit of the end of the weekend. I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is your October challenge? Are you doing one?
I am,
Have I missed it?
You might have missed it.
Okay.
So September challenge was no snooze September, which was a fail.
Listen.
I counted my days. There's 9 days snoozing.
You asked because a charity was the...
Yeah, so I said at the beginning of the month I was going to donate $100 per day. So I donated, it would have been $900. So I'm like, I got to round it up at that point. So I did a $1,000 donation to, I'm going to forget the name. I think I wrote it down. A charity. They're based in Renton, which I like, but
cool.
It's called Birthday Dreams. So they basically help provide and like fund birthday parties and birthday gifts for children who are experiencing homelessness.
Oh, wow.
So
interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool concept. They've done like, I don't remember the numbers, but thousands of birthday parties for kids. Yeah. And so I like that.
That's
like
so great. It's fun to hear. Like, I would like if anybody ever were to come and say, oh my gosh, this family's really struggling. It's their son's birthday. Like, I would never think, oh, there's probably a resource that would help with that. So that's really cool.
Totally. Yeah. And it's like, it's nice that I feel like a lot of families who can't afford a birthday party or a birthday gift, like they would just not, they just want to do something but it's like the fact that this is a known thing that they can go to them and there can be this treating this child like they're special, like they should be on their birthday. So October challenge is to burn 1,000 active calories every day.
What?
So I've done
1,000? Austin, I don't know if that's...
I've done this one before. Second time doing it. So basically I'm using my Apple Watch. So see the pink number?
Yeah.
So
what does that say?
85 right now. So I'm today's gonna actually be tough. I meant to.
So you need 915 more calories,
correct,
to burn.
Yeah. So basically, in order to do it, I have to do a workout, like an hour-long, decently intense workout.
First of all,
and a
time out. Are you telling me in 1 hour you can burn 1,000 calories?
Usually, I burn about 600 calories in an hour.
I don't like this.
Of working out. 500 or 600. Like, it depends on what I'm doing. Like, if I'm doing yoga, I'll burn like 300 calories. If I'm doing like a high intensity interval workout, I'll burn like 600, 700 calories.
Is that normal? Is that what people do?
Men burn more calories than women.
Okay.
Which is unfair, but just the reality of things. Like, if you ever go to an Orange Theory class, they'll say how many calories you've burned on the board.
Yeah.
And all the men always have more calories than the women. So
guess what I'll never go to now. Because of that fact.
But yeah, so in order to achieve the 1,000 calorie thing, I have to basically do a good workout.
Okay.
And then I have to go on a walk with Stevie, which I do anyway.
Okay.
So it's hard. It's a hard one.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, if I don't
do this every day?
Every day for October, yeah. If I don't do a workout, it's pretty much impossible for me to hit it.
Okay.
It's like, and then I burn probably maybe 200 or 300 calories like naturally throughout the day.
Yeah.
So if I were just like going about my day, not walking, not working out, I probably burn like 200 to 250 calories.
Okay.
So takes some intentionality for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you going to do a workout today?
I'll work out later.
Okay.
Yeah. I slept in this morning.
Okay.
It was just felt so good.
Well, September's over.
Felt so good.
Snooze away,
oh my
friend.
gosh. The snoozing this morning felt great.
Yeah.
I was just, Stevie was all curled up next to me, and it was a great morning of snoozing.
Does she stay on your bed all night?
No.
Yeah.
No, she'll start the night in the bed, then she'll go off, and then in the morning she'll come back, which it's kind of ideal.
I know. It's kind of sweet sometimes, like roll over and like, oh, there she is.
Yeah.
Wasn't there before, but there she is. 1,000 calories. That is Cool.
Yeah. It was motivated by Mexico because we're going next week. I'm trying to
So, and where you're staying, will you go to the gym?
So Mexico is going to be challenging. I mean, typically when we're there, we're pretty active. Like we'll play volleyball and stuff. We'll swim in the ocean and that kind of stuff. So there is a gym at the hotel. So I'll work out at the gym. Brian will probably work out most days and go on runs and stuff. So I'm not, I do want to do that. I don't want to pull on those news September and fail a bunch of days this month.
Yeah.
But I will give myself grace if there's like a day where I'm just like, I can't do it. It's fine.
Absolutely.
But I think I'll be able to do it.
Okay. I know we've been talking for a long time. I just feel like it's been a while. We have a lot to share. One thing I did wasn't anything to do with the weekend, but I'm a big fan of the Enneagram.
Yep.
And that's personality assessment if people don't know. Well, my girls' auction last year, they had somebody gifted or donated Enneagram coaching.
Nice.
So I bid on it and won.
It was not with Eleanor?
No.
Okay.
That'd be fun though. So this is a person she's also a life coach.
Okay.
And then she has this like offshoot where she specializes in like Enneagram coaching as well. So I'm like, okay, sign me up. So I just started that. And I am looking at it a little bit like it's definitely a coaching aspect. It's not necessarily gonna be counseling where I'm talking about trauma or these other things. But with all of that, there's still an element of like self-discovery, which is, you have to be vulnerable. And as an Enneagram 7, that's like, feelings, gross. But I feel like, and I want to be careful because this is going to sound funny. She, and also the counselor that Chad and I had seen before, Connie, who we miss and adore, but both of them have said to me that, like, I guess for me, I carry this weight of like, because I'm not like you and Chad, where I'm like disciplined and working out. But in my head, I'm constantly like beating myself up about it, where I'm like, I should on myself all the time. I should have been working out. I should have done this. I have to do more. I need, step it up. And both of them just pushing back of like, that's not how you're naturally wired.
Yeah.
So I was having this conversation a little bit with Chad the other day too, of like, how do I reconcile not necessarily being like as driven as you guys are with that discipline and constantly like that consistency, but there's a desire to be healthy, but also being true to like my personality. So that's my question for you. How?
Oh gosh.
No, I'm just like.
Is this something you asked the
not
person?
Really. So what I started to sense was she was giving me a little pushback because one of the questions, something about like, what does discipline look like for you or something? And to me, discipline is like Chad Erskine, he's so consistent with things and he's so routine, and it's, he like, if he's going to do something, he does.
Yeah.
And I, especially if it's something that's going to be uncomfortable, if it's hard, I'm like very easy to be like, maybe not, especially for physical things. Like, we've talked about this before. So she was a little bit like, okay, but that's like how you are, like almost kind of like, but you're different. Like you're not wired to do that. And so I don't know. This is not a buttoned up conversation. I still have more sessions and I'll share what I discover, but just, I'm trying to be like, okay, what does it look like to have a different mindset than the Enneagram 3s?
Yeah.
But still have a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
But
to me, it comes down to like fulfillment. Like that's like, I think a lot of our joy and happiness in life comes from feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
And for me, I feel fulfilled when I set a challenge or a goal for myself and I complete it. Like that is fulfilling for me. So I think everybody is wired differently. So figuring out what the moments you feel fulfilled and how you can have more of those moments.
Interesting.
But I don't know.
I feel fulfilled on a Friday night at 7:30 p.m. drinking a glass of wine and watching Moon. No, but like there's an element of like, there has, to me, what I keep going back to is like the physical health side of like, I can't keep not doing stuff.
I mean, it sounds like you're on the right track with pickleball. Like you found
my
the physical
really trying to stop me. But...
That's what, every time I have like I'm having shoulder issues right now. I'm like, I'm just trying to do good things for myself and my body's fighting back against me. It's very frustrating. But yeah, I mean, I think everybody tries to like, not everybody, but it's easy to feel like you should do certain things.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're actually going to stick with something you enjoy. So like you enjoy pickleball. So maybe go all in on pickleball.
Well, watch this like become a whole thing. Well, the other thing for me is like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time for a lot of activities. Like I could see myself really enjoying pickleball for a while and then moving on to something else for a little bit. And then something else. Like,
I think that's great too. I mean,
whereas,
variety is the spice of life.
Yeah. I think Chad has been doing the same workout since he was born.
And that's not me. That is not how I 100% mix it up. I would get super bored if I was always doing the same workout. Yeah, I never do the same workout.
Yeah.
Like I go to mostly classes, but I do one class 2 days a week, and every class is a little different.
Okay.
I definitely like all 7 days of the week I do something a little different, with the exception of my walks with Stevie. I go on pretty much the same trail with Stevie every day because that's kind of what's next to me.
Right.
But even during that, like I'm listening to a podcast which has that variety. So I definitely crave consistency and routine while also craving variety at the same time. So that's
a good balance. I feel like. Yeah. Okay.
Well, keep us updated on your Enneagram journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell you what I learned.
Thanks, Jamie.
Cool. Bye.